Jerry Thornton is here from Barstool Sports, but he's also, as you know, a well-known author. And his newest book, 5 Rings, will be coming out when?
Tuesday, September 4th. Available for pre-order. It's wherever fine books are sold and on the internet. And at jerrythornton.net, there'll be links to you can get it at the big company with the A.
Okay,
name.
you can say it. Amazon.com. It's all cool.
All right, cool.
It's
I
all
just
good.
don't know if someone's sponsoring your broadcast. I don't want to blow up anybody's spot.
But
Tom.
what's the story with this book specifically?
This is a companion piece to the previous book I wrote, From Darkness to Dynasty, which was about the utter futility of the Patriots, how for 40 years, they were the worst thing you could be in American culture, which is irrelevant. And now they've gone hyper-relevant. You know, on the field, off the field, controversies, the media blasting them all the time. People like myself fighting against the media that was blasting them all the time and making a nice living out of it.
So let's talk about what Josh McDaniels was just pointing out, that he's not concerned about the numbers in terms of how many receivers he has. He just wants to get the ball in the end zone and get points on the board. How do you feel in terms of your faith? Right now, a week removed from or a week away from the season opener, are you feeling good?
No, like I'm terrified, as I always am this time of year, in spite of all the success that I wrote about for 400 pages, just because I'm looking like the rest of us at a receiving corps that is pretty much Chris Hogan and a bunch of beings that should be bringing a ring to Mount Doom. You know, like I would love somebody over the height of 5'10" in this offense. I say this, Tom, they will figure it out, but I'm afraid at the beginning of the year, like it is a lot of these years, it's going to be ugly.
But you go back to 2006, and it did cost them. I mean, in the end, you look at the fact that they did not invest in the wide receiving position, and it cost them. Do you fear that the lack of guys outside, at least until Julian comes back, can ultimately cost this team its rightful place atop the AFC East A or near the top of the Conference B?
Ultimately, I think they're going to figure it out because, again, they always do. It's a complicated offense. It takes a lot of trial and error. And let's not forget, in 2006, they didn't have the greatest receiving corps. You know, Rashae Caldwell led them with 65 catches. That's no one's idea of a number one. I'm not going to say he's number 2, but he wasn't a great elite receiver. And what did they do? They scored a bunch of points in the AFC Championship game. In that game, their defense couldn't get them off the field, and that's ultimately what cost them.
So you watch the preseason, you pay attention to what's going on in training camp. What has stood out to you? What do you think will define this team over the first couple of weeks? Because if we know anything, they haven't shown us anything yet.
Right. What will define them is going to be Brian Flores, ultimately. Will he have a different sort of a style than Matt Patricia? And Patricia's defense is maddening. It's the kind of thing that makes me stress drink every Sunday, but they were 3rd in the league in points surrendered. It's that 29th in points in yards surrendered that drives every Pats fan crazy. And Will Flores, who seems like in every way you can be the opposite of Patricia. Like Patricia looks like an unmade bed, and Flores looks like a fitness instructor who could kill you with lasers from his eyes. So I will be fascinated to see if they have some sort of a different style there.
We're making some predictions now. It's some unorthodox predictions. Let's go with this first. Aside from number 12, aside from Tom Brady, at the end of the year, who's going to be the offensive MVP for the Patriots?
Okay, and how about if we put aside Rob Gronkowski, because clearly he's the most dominant offensive weapon in football. I'm going to go with Rex Burkhead. You know, a guy that couldn't really put it all together last year. He flashed a little bit, but just that mismatch guy that they can, you know, hand him the ball, but they can flex him out wide if you load up against the run. I'm all on Team Rex.
I also like the consistent positive trending of James White, and this could be him taking it to the next step. So if I'm going to pick a guy, that's who I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick James White as the offensive player of the year that's not wearing number 12 or number 87. On the other side of the ball, who's our defensive player of the year?
Boy, you know what? Devin McCourty is among the best safeties in football, clearly, but give me, is this too big an ask? Give me a full year of Dante Hightower.
Like to see it.
Right, because, you know, we forget that the year before last, he was the #1 free agent on the market overall at any position. And the Patriots gave him that rare second contract. They had that confidence in him that they didn't have in, say, Chandler Jones. So give me him up on the line, that chance to be the dominating presence that we've seen when he's stayed healthy.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. Number 54 is my Defensive Player of the Year. Now, let's talk about the other teams in the AFC who we think might be good. And we were just chatting. Are they seeing two of the best teams in the AFC in the first couple of weeks?
I would say without question. And, you know, we got a very small taste of Deshaun Watson. And clearly that's what Houston has been lacking for a lot of years, is a quarterback who can get him there. And they made him look like a 10-year veteran in, I think, his third professional game. So they're a legit threat. Jacksonville, I'd have to add that. I mean, you know, they gave us a nightmare scenario. If it wasn't for Danny Amendola playing hero ball in the fourth quarter of the championship game, they don't go to the Super Bowl.
So you don't think they're a flash in the pan? You don't think they're a team that comes in here last year like, you know, the Falcons of '98, who sort of show up, go to a Super Bowl, and then you never hear from them again for another decade?
You know, I'm not ready to say that fully, because I've been hearing that Jacksonville is the team of tomorrow for a lot of yesterdays. So, but they clearly have the horses. They've got the #1 rushing offense in football. The team I'm not that worried about is Pittsburgh, because they'll be good and they'll be there, and the Patriots will dominate them. It's just they have them figured out. Belichick is so deep inside the Pittsburgh's heads that he should be paying them a mortgage.
Okay, so Patriots, they finished the year what? 6 rings? You writing a prologue, an epilogue, whatever it's called, the next chapter?
Give me at least this. 12 wins. In the first 43 years of their existence, the Patriots never won 12 games once. And the 15 years since, they've done it 12 times. So they have the AFC East wrapped up by Thanksgiving again. Undoubtedly a bye week in the playoffs. So I think, sneaky, the most impressive thing they've done in this run that I talk about in the book is 7 straight trips to the AFC Championship game. Even baseball, no one can come close to that, and they don't have a salary cap. So let's at least put them in the final, game of the year in January in the AFC, and then see what happens from there. But a trip to the Super Bowl is, at best, at least a 25% proposition for them.
Just a reminder, this was a guy who was very nervous less than 5 minutes ago. I asked you about next week, and you said you were nervous, but you're like, I'm nervous, but they're still going to the AFC Championship game.
Start of the year, September is always a mess while they figure it out. I'm learning to just accept that, and I never ever do. Tom, I need your number. I'm going to call you. You're going to be like my Panic Anonymous sponsor.
System?
Yes, exactly.
I'll do whatever it takes.
And then by October, they'll have figured out whatever issues they were experiencing without Julian Edelman there.
All right, good stuff. Jerry, thank you so much.